Welcome to a look at a Spectre 4 Aevum dark build. This build is a good example of the case with all of the available add-ons, all except one, which is the Fan Guardian Powerboard controller, which is a small touch display which mounts up in here, and it controls the lighting and monitors the water cooling system, RPMs, temperatures, voltages. I'll show that in other videos and some other builds, and I'm also going to make a separate video about that and all of the features. So Spectre 4 Aevum Dark is our current flagship case, not including Dominus, our carbon fiber case, which is coming soon. The case comes included with our distribution plate integration. So it comes with the rear distribution plate, which has a D5 reservoir combo and parts of the loop. And it also comes with our Powerboard integration, which is a full solution for cables and cable management. It comes included with all of the cables, and it also does a lot of other things like cooling system control and management, lighting, and has other integrations such as direct drive mounts. So this case has some customization. Spectre 4 Aevum Dark has satin black covers, but this customer requested some gold accents, so you can see that some of the covers have been changed to gold. There is actually a full gold version of Aevum, the Gold Elite. So the difference between the original Aevum and Aevum Dark, the original Aevum had transparent acrylic, whereas Aevum Dark has grey tinted acrylic, and it's just one layer of the distribution plates, the rear layer, as you can see here. And this just makes the case a little bit darker, but the front layer of all of the distribution plates is still transparent, so you can still see through to the coolant, and it's only a grey tint, so you can see that it's still quite transparent. You can see right through. Aevum Dark was also the first case that we introduced our PCB covers on. So these are all around the case. There's one here. So this PCB cover has integrated LEDs, which are what is lighting up the logo. And all of these are daisy chained, so this also greatly reduced the amount of cable mess. There's another one here over the screen, and there's also one on the back here, the rear I/O. So almost all of them have integrated LEDs, and this rear I/O cover is also something that was introduced on Aevum Dark. So the add-ons for this case, it also comes included with a front distribution plate, but the top distro has been added, and the side one, which adds another D5 reservoir combo for another full separate loop. So if you want to add a second loop and have dual loops, one for the CPU and one for the GPU, then it is best to add the dual loop side panel. So this replaces the stock side panel window. And yes, it does have a window, so it is actually very easy to install and still easy to work on the build. I do like to build the CPU loop and do all of the cable management first, and then install the dual loop side panel, and then I build the GPU loop after that. But yeah, it is quite easy to work with. And the other add-ons is the PSU top shroud distribution plate and the rear I/O distro. So the components in this build, it has an X870E Hero, 9950X3D, 96 gig of G.Skill Royale. It has a 1 terabyte Crucial T705, a 4 terabyte one, and then 3 4 terabyte Crucial P3s, and a 16 terabyte hard drive, which is, I believe, a Seagate, which is mounted around the back. It has a 5090 Tough 1600 watt Be Quiet power supply, 2 Alpha Cool 420mm 60mm thick radiators, Corsair 140mm fans, and it has the new SingularityComputers fittings as well. And one of the biggest questions for any water-cooled build is, what fittings do I use? And it's even a bigger deal these days with distribution plates, mainly if you're doing a fully decked out build like this, which has all of these distribution plates. There are some tight connections to be made in the corners. So fitting selection is really important. So we're going to be coming out with fittings packages for the different configurations of Aevum, like the stock case with no add-ons, and also for the case with all of the add-ons like this. So taking a look around the back of the case, you can see how much the PCB covers improve the lighting, because they all have integrated LEDs, except for these two little ones at the top here. But you can see the PCB cover at the bottom here, which is actually the hard drive cover. So there's a hard drive in behind that, which is directly connected into the power board. And then the PCB cover for the rear mounted fan, which blows cold air onto the back of the CPU socket. And this is another feature that Spectre 4 has. Hot air being trapped in behind the motherboard is a problem that's not really considered, but it is quite a big deal, so that fan makes a bit of a difference. So aside from the obvious features and the features of our cases that you will all be familiar with, the integrated distribution plates, which we've been doing for a while now, this is our most advanced powerboard. The Spectre 4 powerboard has the most amount of features that we've ever done. So the powerboard started out as basically just cable routing. So it was a way of integrating cables and cable management so that you just don't have to do any cable management at all. Aside from tucking back a few RGB cables, it comes with these short linking cables. This is a custom one, by the way. It comes with black sleeve linking cables. So all you have to do is just go click, click, click in each side of the cable, and there's no cable management to do, it's done. But this powerboard also has direct connect drive mounts for two 2.5 inch and a 3.5 inch drive, integrated lighting, which you can see all around, and it has UV and RGB lighting integrated. I'm not going to cover all of the features because there are many. There's some cool things like it can convert 8-pin PCI inputs to 12VH power because it pulls the power. So if you have a power supply that has only 8-pin PCIe and not 12VH power, you can just plug the 8-pin PCIe into the power board and you can still run a 12VH power output. It has caps all over it for noise and ripple, but the main thing that we added on this one is the temperature-based RPM control with 4 PWM zones, one for each pump, one for each set of radiator fans for dual loops, and it has built-in RPM curves built into the hardware, so you don't need software for this, and you can adjust how aggressive the curves are with these pots. And this is something that I've covered before, so I won't go into it in detail, but the pots kind of seem like going back to the old days, except that it actually has built-in RPM curves. And what you're adjusting with the pots is the RPM curve, and you can adjust it real time without going into software or BIOS. So it's actually a much easier way to do things because you can do it when the system is under load, which is when you need to hear what the noise output really is.